Welcome to the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race Daily Show. I'm Rupert Guinness, your host, and with me on my right is Olivia Price, and on my left is Nick Douglas. We're here to talk about another day of this great iconic race. And again, there's been all sorts of things that have been happening on and off the water, but that's a bit about what the Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race is about. And right now we're just at the docks here in Hobart, and the cruise, as you can see behind us, the docks are filling up with friends and families and yachts, of course, and crews, and the celebrations have been underway for over 24 hours now since Wild Oats 11, which is just behind us, finished to claim line honours. Firstly, speaking of Wild Oats, we should talk about the latest news today. Yeah. Olivia, you were there today, but we understand that the protest was declared as non-valid by the International Race Jury.
Yesterday in Hobart, Wild Oats 11 crossed the finish line
from the Blackjack boat about concerns about the rules and regulations of the AIS system. But maybe you were there. Let us know what happened there and what was the mood like there.
It was intense. So I was at the Royal Yacht Club of Tasmania this afternoon, marshalling the media basically for in preparation for the result of the protest. We had Wild Oats, we had invalid. They weren't needed in the room and there was no actual hearing. So what we had was Russell Green, who was the chairman of the international jury, come down and explain the facts of the case, and you can find out more about that at www.rolexsydneyhobart.com. All of it's on our website.
It's been quite an exhausting day from that point of view, and I'm sure for the Wild Oats 11 crew it's been a day of uncertainty. While they would have celebrated yesterday, we saw the celebrations here on the docks and around the town of Hobart afterwards, but once that cloud of uncertainty went over the issue, it would have been hard for the crew whether to celebrate or not, because you just never know what the outcome is of this, do you, Nick?
Right. You do never know, and I think that's why we have an international jury at events like this. That's their decision. They are impartial to the race committee. They are impartial to the organisers and the media team, so it's their job to make the best decision for all involved. And I know that the Wild Oats 11 and everything that we discussed the other day when they crossed the line. So.
Exactly. It is their 9th line honours win, and they are very much at the forefront of the Rolex Sydney Hobart. No one else has won 9 line honours wins, so congratulations to all the team at Wild Oats 11.
And the Oatley family and everything they've done for the sport.
So there you go. We've got the line honours results have been confirmed, or they were confirmed, but they have not been altered in any way because of what's happened. But of course, a lot of the attention now is focusing on who will win the Tattersall Cup for the overall victory, which is really the really major cup up for grabs here for the purists who follow this race and this sport. Right now, as we're talking, Alive is the Tasmanian boat. Alive is on the top. We've seen boats come in and out. I think we're down to 36 boats have come in. Is that right, Olivia, on my maths?
Yes, I think URM have just crossed the finish line in the last few minutes. So 36 yachts have finished the Rolex Sydney Hobart so far. So what we've got is a whole bunch of players still out there. There's 79 yachts still, in contention, and they're still in the fleet. So anything can happen. It is yacht racing, and we have seen a whole lot of changes. We've seen so many leaders. We've seen people sit at the top of the leaderboard in the IRC and then be down in the 40s and then back up in the top 5, all within 24 hours. So Alive is very happy at the moment. They are sitting in prime position, and we can say that they are expected, and it's highly likely, but anything can happen. There's still Mark Twain out there with a time to beat, and Gunrunner as well, so they are still in the mix.
Yeah, and we have seen how the conditions have changed. I mean, we saw last night, suddenly the wind picked up, and one of the boats that we saw impacted by, as the Derwent went famously or infamously dead, was Matt Allen and his Ichiban crew, who are the defending champions, and they have the crew and the boat to legitimately stake a claim as favourites for the Tattersall Cup beforehand. If they are now out of contention. Matt Allen conceded that last night. But if they had have got back to back, it would have been the first time since Freya 53 years ago. But I think the fact that history is so long shows just how hard a back-to-back win really is in this event.
Definitely, and I think yachts have changed a lot over the years as well. So the speed differential between the boats used to be a lot closer. Now that the speed differential is greater, boats are going through different weather systems. So the variability in the IRC results is becoming greater, and that's why we see these big jumps in the IRC results. And that, I think it's now more difficult to win a back-to-back result because of that reason, because the fleet is spread out over so many different weather systems. So talking to Matt Allen last night when he came into dock was an emotional experience for him and the crew, I'm sure, because they were favourites and they were in the box seat. They've been the first boat to lead around Tasman Island for the last 3 years in a row on IRC, but have only won once. They've been done in by the Derwent in 2016 and 2018.
It's almost like if you race this race, if you haven't been done in by the Derwent, you haven't really done the Derwent, I suppose.
Tongue twister,
yeah,
isn't it?
That was really hard.
Do the Derwent well, and if you haven't done it, you haven't been done by the Derwent. How's that?
There you go.
Nick, as you said, you did speak with Matt. I was there at the docks with you last night, but I know you spoke to him. It was 11:30 at night. Love to see what he said to you there. We're going to take a look and a listen to see what Matt Allen had to say with Nick.
Matt Allen, how are you?
Yeah, we're pretty good, Nick. We this time we ended up with the Derwent and Storm Bay getting us once again, but anyway, that was 2 years out of 3. But at least it didn't get us 3 years out of 3.
Yeah, so. You say 2 years out of 3, but you did win the race to Tasman Island 3 years in a row, really.
Yeah. Well, I actually we're just talking about that. You know, we're just like a lot of time up our sleeve, but with our arrival time, we always knew if the race panned out exactly at the time that we originally thought, that we could be in trouble. So, and that we were hoping for a faster race, so we'd get in a little bit earlier. So it just didn't happen, and the shutdown that we were expecting occurred, and those few hours that we had up our sleeve just evaporated into thin air and never to be seen again. We were so pleased about how we sailed the race. We were crossing tacks with sort of most of the 60-footers, and the TPs were a fair way behind. We were matching with Hollywood Boulevard a fair bit of the time, and his ratings are a fair bit higher than ours. Naval Group and and not far off a number of the 60s, so really good, really happy with the way the boat went, and there's no damage, and we could go and do another after a shave and a shower and a beer. We could probably rock up and do Hoabrt again tomorrow. Not that we're going to.
Well, that was really interesting from Matt Allen. He's a really good articulator, isn't he? He really explains things very well, and particularly with that disappointment that he's got or had, and. But it was interesting also, he's so keen to come back for next year to do the boats, to do the race. And so rest assured, I think you can already count him as one of the favourites, I suppose.
Oh, you've got to be careful there, Rupert, because it is the 75th anniversary of the Sydney to Hoabrt, and Rolex is again sponsoring next year. It will be the 18th year they will be sponsoring. So we're expecting a massive crowd, a whole lot of new boats that we may or may not have seen before. Many internationals, so I think you're calling it a bit early there, Rupert.
I did say the favourite, one of the favourites.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
He's a good journalist, he's covered his butt.
Anyway, let's move along. Look, we've still got other boats to come in, as we mentioned before.
Yeah.
And for those boats who haven't come in, even the boats that are not in contention for the Tattersall Cup, I guess they're just trying to get the best out of their boat and their crew, and to enjoy the last possible, maybe not last night, you never know what can happen, but their last hurdle, so to speak.
Yes, definitely. So the Derwent is always a hurdle. Every year it is. So there's still more than half the fleet to come in, and they are making their way. There's a big battle for. There's about 10 boats out there at the moment, battling their way across Storm Bay up the Derwent, and I'm sure that they're all within eyesight of each other, so they're going to obviously be trying to get the most out of their boats, whilst of course trying to take it in, Rupert. The sun is out, it is beautiful conditions, we have about 10 to 12 knots out there, and I really don't think it could be any better. We're standing here in t-shirts and shorts, and we're in Hoabrt.
Yeah, Hobart's great. Well, speaking of the boats that are to come in yet, but one of them who's just recently come in is Kealoha 2, the oldest boat in the fleet. She's a beautiful boat. She's just here on our left, probably just out of camera shot, but the crew have just arrived. I spoke to a good mate of mine who's on the crew, Dallas Kilponen, who is a photographer, and he said they think they might have broken their record, that record pace that they did last year by maybe half an hour. I don't know. The tracker will tell you that.
Record pace in this massive SNS.
But she's a beautiful boat. They said they had an absolute beautiful sail coming up the Derwent. And you look at the beautiful shape of her and the colour and the celebrations that are going on there. It really captures the spirit of finishing the Sydney to Hobart, doesn't it, Nick?
It really does. The docks have been crowded all day. I think in particular when we woke up this morning, or if you got the opportunity to have a little nap like I did, and we had 10 boats finish within about 4 hours, and more have come in all day. The boat parties have started. Some people haven't left their boats all day. Others have gone to Customs House and come back again. So
some have gone to Customs House and never
come back.
Yeah, we've lost them. Shipwright Arms, everything. You know, it's all a hive of activity. The Taste of Tasmania has been in full swing today because it is a Saturday. I was reminded. I forgot what day it was.
I did too, Nick.
So there's quite a few people about. It's been absolutely lovely, and I think that's something else that Hobart has to offer, and so many people will be able to enjoy the beauty that is Tasmania if they do head down for the 75th Rolex Sydney Hobart next year.
Yeah.
One of the great things, it's like every regatta around the world, well, especially the good ones, the dock area down here where we are now, and for people who are in Hobart now, if you're watching this, by all means, come on down to the docks. The crews are here, and they're really open to talk to you if you've got questions about the boat, about their experiences, because even if you just stand there, you'll hear the tales. We're being told very proudly, and perhaps not so proudly about some, but it's a great atmosphere, and and also there's the village here where there's a lot of activity going. There's music playing. There's last night I walked past, going back to my hotel, and there's a lot of dancing going on. So really, come on down here if you've got a chance, and you'll have a great time. Now, I've got to ask you, Olivia, tomorrow we're going to another day because it was not over yet.
It is not over yet.
What can we expect for tomorrow? Now, from formalities and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, so tomorrow, although the last boat is expected in on early morning on the following day, on New Year's Eve, there is the overall presentation where the overall winner will be announced, and there will be a presentation at the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race Hoabrt Race Village. So it's open to the public. It will be a massive party atmosphere. It's at 11 o'clock tomorrow, so make sure you don't miss out. And then after that, there will be a dockside presentation of the Rolex timepiece and the Tattersall Cup. So make sure that you come down. It will be an absolutely party atmosphere. There'll be food, drinks, and many people, many crews, and I'm sure there's going to be some champagne popped and sprayed everywhere.
So better have a rain jacket in case, or we don't get too close to the celebrations. The Tattersall Cup is a beautiful trophy. Nick, you've been around the world at great regattas. When you see the Tattersall Cup, how does it sort of stand against other trophies? It doesn't always have to be the biggest trophy that's the best, but...
Well, I don't really think about the size of it, but more so the Tattersall Cup for me is the first major yacht racing trophy I remember, being an Australian. But I think that the Rolex Sydney Hobart really does have a place in everybody's hearts around the world because it is known as the great race. And winning the Tattersall Cup, we spoke about it earlier in this broadcast, it's so difficult. You've got the battle out of the Heads in Sydney, you've got the battle down the coast of the east coast of Australia, across Bass Strait, and then up the Derwent. Basically 4 races in one against the best against the best races that we have in Australia with varied conditions. So you've got to be able to pick your moments correctly, but some things you have no control over, and it's such a great family and community, and that Tattersall Cup really represents everything that this race has within it, and there's so much soul there. So I think that's why it's just such a beautiful trophy, and it's such a great race and event.
Gee, I feel like I'm just back at the start of the Sydney Harbour, and when you just mentioned the start, it's fun. But maybe it's also because when you come down here and you speak to crews that you haven't spoken to since the start, and a lot of their emotions are really, it's just recounting where it all began, and it's been really interesting how some of the crews, see they're very proud of how their start was. Some of them are really happy with how their first day went. I guess everyone breaks it down to what is a success for me or for our crew, and which is again part of the spirit of this event. Not everybody can get a trophy, not everybody can get a medal, but you certainly get a lifetime of experience and tales and emotions, I suppose.
Yeah, and we definitely feel it down here on the docks with them. We are hearing some hilariously funny stories from all these crews. So as Rupert said, do make sure you come down and just have a chat. Everyone, sailors are very welcoming. We love to have a chat, as you can hear us chat now.
Sorry.
But there is a really cool atmosphere. It is open to the public all the time, so make sure you come down, and especially on New Year's Eve, because everyone has a party on their boat.
Yeah.
And everyone has a party in the race village, so make sure you come down and check it out.
I'm not going to mention which maxi, but I may have talked somebody into me putting fairy lights all over their rigging for New Year's Eve at the shipwright arm just now. They may have been a little bit inebriated, but I'm going to hold them to it.
Gosh. Okay, I'm sure you will, Nick. I have no doubt about that. Well, look, and if you can't get here, you can always keep following the coverage that we've been producing on the website for the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race website.
You've got it.
And now I'm going to have to read out the address because now my tongue tied.
You can do it.
Anyway, you can follow us on social media at hashtag Rolex Sydney Hobart, and also on our website www.rolexsydneyhobart.com. So there you go.
There we go.
I had to read it again. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching tonight, listening tonight, and following our coverage as well on the website and all social media.
Yeah.
We hope you've been entertained or enlightened or even just enjoyed some of the reads and the interviews and the news and the views. As always, it's not, as I say every day, it's not over yet. We've still got more tomorrow and more the next day, and who knows how long.
Exactly. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and
not just on the water.
No, exactly.
Anyway,
Anyway,
the weather gods will answer that one. So, in the meantime, until tomorrow, have a great night or day, or wherever you are in the world. Enjoy what you're doing. For me, on behalf of Olivia Price and Nick Douglas and myself, Rupert Guinness, thanks very much for watching. Have a great night. Take care of each other, and stay tuned until tomorrow.